Welcome back, students. I still remain your civic teacher, Kate Ikudirim. Today we are going to be looking at election and electoral bodies in Nigeria. Remember that in our last class we talked about democracy, and we defined democracy as a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as such. That this is a particular way of representing a country where the vast majority pick or select a person of their choice to stand for them and talk about their rights. So we also talked about some features of democracy, where we talked about that democracy entails regular and periodic election. Taking for example Nigeria, where every 4 years a new leader will be elected or will be voted for in a country. So today, like I said last time, that we'll be talking more about the independent Independent National Electoral Commission, and we'll say we are going to be looking at their functions. So today we are going to do just that. So we are going to be talking about what election means, some of the importance of election, and then the functions of the electoral body in Nigeria, which is INEC. So what do we mean when we say election? Election simply means the process of choosing or selecting a person or group of people to represent our interests in an official position through what? Through voting. Going back to our school, where we have to pick a class prefect or pick a school prefect to represent our interests, the person that will go to the authority, tell the authority about our needs, what we need in the school. How do we go about selecting them is what is termed as election. Just the choosing or selecting of a group of persons to represent us in an official position through voting. Now let's talk about the importance of election in a country or in our school, as the case may be. We'll say that election promotes what? Democracy. It promotes the freedom of people making their own choices. In our school, people can come up and pick up a nominee to represent them. At the end of the day, the vote will be casted, and then the majority will win the vote or will win the election. So democracy, or rather election, promotes democracy, where people have to come out, make their own choices. I don't have to be cajoled or be forced to pick or to stand for a person I do not want. If it is party A I want, it is my own right to vote for party A. I don't need to vote for party B because my friend is in party B. So everybody's right is there. You have your freedom, which is what democracy entails, the right to pick the person of your choice. So election gives you such freedom. And then the second one we have on the board is that it makes our leaders sensitive to the need of the people, to our needs. Coming to our country, Nigeria, if leaders know that at the end of every 4 years, that of course they will be voted out, they will be sensitive to our need. If it is good roads that we need, you see them working judiciously to see that the roads are motorable. If it's schools that the people need, you see them building up schools. If it is hospital, you see them constructing and equipping hospitals so that the people will vote them in the next election. So democracy or election makes leaders sensitive to the needs of the people. You see that people or the people we elected in our school, for example, if a class prefect or the school prefect know that at the end of every term or every year that another vote or another election will be conducted, and probably they are interested. If they do not do well, of course they will be voted out. But if they are sensitive to our need and they are working according to our needs, to our goals, to what we want, you find out that they will work judiciously and know that at the end of that term that they might be voted in again to run for a second term. That is why we say election is very, very good. It makes leaders sensitive to the need of the people. They want to work so that people will see them as doing what the people want. And then the next one is that it makes our leaders accountable. If leaders know that at the end of their tenure that they will be asked to show up their scorecard or the result of what they have done, if at the end of 4 years we'll say, our governor, we asked you for 10 roads to repair for us, and we requested for 2 universities. So far, how many have you done? And then we'll score him. Probably at the end of the day, he only worked on 2 roads and no universities. Of course, he knows that second term, nobody will be voting for him. So we hold our leaders accountable through elections. And leaders know that at the end of their tenure or the end of their term, they will be asked to give account of what they have done so far. At the back of their mind, you see them working hard to make sure that they do what the people want, so that next term they will be elected or they will be voted in again. Election also educates the electorate, that is the voters. It educates the electorate. It tells you your rights. During the election, of course, those that carries this out is the electoral body. We'll come to that when we come to their functions. With election, electorates, voters know their rights. They know that they have the right to vote, the right to be voted for. If you have to vote for party A, nobody has the right to stop you from voting for your party A. You have the right to vote for your own candidate. So election educates electorates on what to do during election and even after election, and how the government is to govern us. It educates us to know that we have a right, we have a say in the government, in what happens around us. If you find out that things are not going the proper way, the right way, you have a right to speak out. You have the right to air your mind and make sure that you say it the way it is. So election educates the electorate on what to do. Also, election allows for peaceful process of changing government. Why do we say this? We'll take for Nigeria, we'll take our country, Nigeria, for example again. Every 4 years, of course, everybody will know that an election timetable will be out. The day for election will be there. Everybody will know that so time, this particular government will go and another one will come in. So with this at the back of our mind, everybody is working through that process to achieve this game. We will not have to fight ourselves or carry out a machete to come out and start fighting. When you know that at the end of 4 years, when your term is due, everybody will now come out. Those that are interested will come out, and then we will vote a person of our own choice. So it allows for peaceful process of changing government. We don't need to fight. Like now, everybody is complaining of the present government. We don't have much to do now. We are just waiting for the end of its term when they will now go, and then we'll bring a different person to represent us up there. So it allows for peaceful change of government. We don't need to fight. We don't need to go to Aso Rock now to tell Buhari, step down. He knows that at the end of his 4 years, he's doing what? He will go. That is if he's not serving us well. But if it is doing well, but of course, you know that he has spent this is the second term, so he's not coming back again. But had it been that it is the first term, and he knows that he will be going on for the second term, if he's not doing well, people will vote him out. But if he's doing well and people want him to continue, the voting process will go on in a peaceful manner where we don't need to fight each other. So election allows for peaceful process of changing government, where you and I, we don't need to carry machetes or snatch ballot boxes to change government. Peacefully, we'll go to the election ground, we'll cast our votes to for the person of our choice, and then at the end of the day, INEC will give or we declare the winner of the election. So that is that about the importance of election in a country. Now let's go to the functions of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Remember, I told you that we need to find out their functions, which is very, very important. I told you that INEC is a body that is established in Nigeria to do what? To organize. And then we have them in the 36 states of the country as State Independent National Electoral Commission, SEC. So this body was set up in 1998 by the federal government just for them to conduct and coordinate election in Nigeria. Now let's go to some of the functions. At least we have like 4 on the board, and I know that at the end of this class I'm sure that we'll come up with more functions because it's applicable in our schools too. Now let's say the first one is that the function of the Independent National Electoral Commission is to register eligible voters. Who are the eligible voters? Those that are right to vote, those that are due to vote. In our country, the age for you to attain before you can vote is 18 years. So those of us that are not yet 18, we can't vote until we are 18. When you're 18, you can now go to the INEC office close to you to register, so that at the next election or the day of election you can cast your vote. So one of the functions of the Independent National Electoral Commission is to do what? Register eligible voters. When you are 18 years, you have the right to vote and be voted for. You just go to INEC and you get your name, your age, and everything. Your biometric will be requested from you, and then you give to them, and then you'll be registered so that at the day of election you can come out and vote. Also, another function of INEC is to organize and conduct free and fair election. If they just conduct election that is not free and fair, that election will be declared null and void. Nobody will accept such election. At the end of the day, you find out people will be protesting. People will carry placard on the streets. People will be destroying things. There will be crisis here and there. So it is on for the Independent National Electoral Commission to do what? Organize and conduct free and fair election, where everybody's vote will be counted and seen to be counted. If 20 of us came out to vote and 10 voted for party A, the other 2 voted for party B, the remaining 8 did not vote, it should be written as such. It's not that party A will take all the votes, while we have some that did not vote and some that voted for party B. So everybody's vote must be seen to be counted. So it has to be free and fair for it to be said to be, the election must be free and fair so that it will be acceptable to us. So that is one of the functions of the Independent National Electoral Commission. I will say that the Independent National Electoral Commission also have the duty to educate and enlighten the electorate on electoral process. So one of their duties too is to teach us or tell us how to go about voting. How to do what? Go about the voting process. The Electoral Commission have to teach the people what to do on the voting day, how to cast their votes, how to wait at the end of the voting process, and how the winner will be announced. So all these processes, educating and enlightening, is the function of the Independent National Electoral Commission. They have to educate the electorate, enlighten them, tell them how to vote for their parties or their representative, and how to go about the voting process. If not, you find out a lot of people will be making mistakes. You want to vote your party A, you find out that at the end of the day, probably you'll be voting party B or party C, while you want to vote party A. And then they will tell you the process of voting. It's either you thumbprint, or you mark, or whichever process it is for that particular voting period. So the duty of the Independent National Electoral Commission is to educate and enlighten the electorate on the electoral process. And then another duty, of course, that they have to perform is to declare the winner of the election. Like we had the last time when we had our election in Nigeria, it took some time before the Independent National Electoral Commission announced the winner of the election. Because of that, people started protesting. People were murmuring. People were saying that they know that something fishy was happening. But of course, they gave the reason for that. They said they were still collecting and counting the votes. So it is the duty of the Independent National Electoral Commission to do what? To declare the winner of the election. Coming to our school or our classroom, as the case may be, where we need to pick a class prefect to represent our interests in the class. At the end of the day, when we have voted and we've gotten our representative, if the director of the school or the teacher who is representing the students there as the electoral body does not declare the winner of such election, of course, you know that the student will protest. If the students have voted, the last time we took Destiny and Olise, and we said Olise won the election, and then because probably the teacher is favoring Destiny, the teacher refused to declare Olise as the winner. Voting has been conducted, has been counted, and of course it's glaring that Olise won the votes because he got 15 out of 20 voters. And then the teacher or the director refused to declare Olise as the winner of the election. What do you think will happen? You see the students protesting and crying that there is a foul play. So the function of the electoral body is to do what? Declare the winner of the election, and of course give a certificate to such a person to show that actually this person won the election and it is the representative of the people. With that, we come to the end of the class. I'll be giving you your assignments subsequently. Thank you.